There's a scene early on in the movie where he says you are bullying him.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And so, I mean, how much of a... He says that he couldn't have done it without your support, but then again, I don't think he could have done it without you pushing him, too.
Yeah, that's in my job description as older brother, which is tough love. You know, I try to keep an eye on him, I try to be supportive, and if I feel like he's getting close to something special, you know, sometimes a kid wants to quit, and you need to force him to do that. Mom, I don't want to take piano lessons anymore. I'm sick of violin. You don't have a choice. But there was a point where he said, you're acting too much like a director right now. I mean, we got giddy that there was a story developing, and then this suddenly, what was just home video was turning into a feature story. And then I guess I got a little giddy, and I forgot to be his brother for a little while there. And sometimes he's more mature than me, and he reminded me, he said, I need you as a friend. I need your advice.
Oh, that's cool. It's nice to have that, your perspective back, because you only get his.
Yeah. I mean, we fight all the time, but we make up moments later. There's like no grudge between any of us.
And so looking back now, I mean, did you love the fact that y'all were both behind the camera and weren't having to put yourself out there like him?
I mean, it was definitely, we didn't have the emotional investment that Neve had in it, so it was much easier for us to do this. But, you know, at the same time, like, I was watching one of my best friends go through this really emotional experience and get hurt. And that was hard at times. And there was definitely times when I wanted to put down the camera and just give him a hug, you know?
Absolutely. Have either of y'all ever had a similar experience? I mean, not to this level, but were you got taken in by something on the internet or a person on the internet?
No.
No.
Okay. I know so many people who have on some level.
Well, his experience was our experience too. I was friends with all of them online as well, and so was my mother. So were a handful of our friends. So if he was deceived or roped in, so were we.
Yeah.
So I guess this happened. You know,
We just weren't in love.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
I was jealous though.
She was.
Yeah.
She was beautiful.
Hot.
She was beautiful. She's talented. She dances. She plays music. She had a horse farm, and she had like a '69 Camaro. And
we thought Neve was very lucky to have the attention of this family.
And did you two ever say, I mean, I know as filmmakers you're just documenting, but just as friends and brother, did you ever think, wow, this is too good to be true? This is...
We did, yeah. Several times. And at first we were like, aren't those paintings a little too good to be by an 8-year-old? And in fairness, you know, they developed and they got better over the 8 months that he received them. And the first painting was kind of primitive, but definitely amazing for an 8-year-old. And there were times when we were like, you sure this isn't a financial scam or something? Or like some kind of, is there something creepy going on here? And there was always so much going on, and Neve wanted it to be true so badly that he could explain it away, or the just amount of details kind of drowned out those concerns.
It's kind of...
True.
True.
Henry has a terrific analogy for the whole situation, which is, I think I'll get this right. If you put a frog in a boiling pot of water, he'll jump right out. But if you put him in a pot of water, a live frog.
You want to cook a frog.
If you want to cook a frog, and you put him in a pot of water and slowly turn up the heat,
he'll just swim around
until he boils.
Yeah.
Think about that. Don't just think about it. Really think about it.
Ponder it.
That's what happened to me. Yeah, it was a very slow burn. In the movie, the relationship takes 25 minutes, but in real life, it was 8 months. 1,500 emails, photos, phone conversations, chats.
Yeah.
Text messages.
And when you all look back on it now, like he said, the perspective of now it's all over, you can look back on it. What do you think? Because I heard so many different people and different opinions as people left the theater. What do you think is kind of the overriding message, or what you got out of it, the whole experience?
That's a good question. There's a lot to learn or to take away from Catfish, and it's all very contradictory, and it's not neat, it's not clean, because it's real life. You know, if you take a fiction movie and you know what the message is, sort of this is real life, so there's so many contradictions. But one thing is, I guess, you don't need as many friends as you might think you do online. I'd rather just have like a couple good friends that I can interact with face to face. And then maybe for every like 20 emails you send, pay one house call. Something like that. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think you need to be cautious online and think about what and know that the internet is a permanent record of things. Once you send something out there, it's out there forever, somewhere. And that whatever you send out can be reappropriated or used for something else, and you have no control over that. But once you know that, I also think it's really important to be open to new experiences and to meeting new people, because otherwise, where are you going to end up in life?
Yeah.
And you never know where your new best friend or your new love is going to come from.
Just be more cautious.
Be more cautious. Yeah,
Maybe
or just
a little cynical.
Just know what you could be getting into. Be careful, but still don't close yourself off. Because the internet is still an incredible tool for connecting with people. And at the end of this movie, we do connect with people, real people.
You're friends with her.
Yeah.
You are. Are you still?
Yeah.
How much do you talk compared to in the movie? I mean, obviously, because do y'all go not hear from each other very much, or
Yeah, well, we communicate with
often.
them almost every
once a
week.
week, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what is her feeling with all this coming out? I mean, the attention and everything. that
She's
it brings?
she's scared. I mean, we're all a little scared. The movie's about us. It's about Neve. It's about her. It's not just, you're not talking to actors about a role they inhabited. So, fortunately, the main characters of the movie are very open people. They're okay with their insecurities and with their securities, and they're brave enough to expose all that. So I think they're both nervous, but people have been really supportive, and I think identify with the movie because here are people. He had a whole sexed relationship with someone through text message, and that's intimate, funny stuff, and it's really embarrassing. But I think everyone has a few of those in their phone. And finally, someone's willing to read them out loud, so it's okay.
But we feel, as filmmakers, protective of everyone who's in our film, also, because everybody's real people, including us. So it's a very personal story.
She in particular, at first, were you quickly able to get past your anger towards her once you saw the real life situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost instantly.
I think we've both been raised to basically accept people, and considering their upbringing, their reasons for being. No one is just a violent person. It takes a while to get there, and not that there's an excuse for every crime, but there should at least be compassion and understanding for it.
Right. And it seems like, looking at the end of the movie, she's in a better place now. At least it seems that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is that way. I mean, the movie was sort of, I guess, a road to understanding and to acceptance of herself. And at this point, she is more of herself online. Her identity is more pure. I mean,
True.
That's sort of spoiler stuff, so I'm not sure how to phrase that.
And that's one thing we talked about before. We have to be so careful because
Yeah.
You wouldn't enjoy the movie so much if you knew how it was going to end.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the question I had, we talked about this, and again, I mean, this is just kind of throwing it out there because we saw the film. What was the woman's reaction, the picture she'd been using from Seattle, and here you're saying this person's married, and what was her reaction when it's like someone's taken on my pictures and saying, they've created this persona?
Yeah. Well,
Shocked. She was shocked.
I mean,
Yeah,
was there
I mean-
anger? Was she just shocked?
She went through the whole range of emotions. She was shocked. She thought it was sort of funny, and then she felt kind of violated, I think. And then when we hadn't finished the film yet at that point, but we started showing her some footage, and then she started understanding where it was coming from and felt, I think, sympathy. And now she's, she came to Sundance and she's excited that the movie's coming out.
Yeah, it's like everyone wears this mask online. You open up a Facebook profile and you have to choose a profile picture. So you try and choose your best picture, whatever shows you best. But if you don't like any picture of yourself, you might go looking for a picture of someone else. And so it's just like levels of fantasy, sort of. And I think that's what you need watch out for online, which is that it's not just your reality, it's everyone's fantasy, and the internet is sort of this like battlefield or playfield. And we're all figuring out what that is right now. It's sort of, this is like a contemporary issue.
Well, and especially because while you at first you want to focus on her and all of that, he allowed it in the sense of, I think people do have a hard time, at least you hear this, connecting with other people.
Yeah.
And especially once you're out of college, just finding new friends. And so when you have this too good to be true person, oh my gosh, you're so almost, I'll use the word desperate, for it to work.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good analogy, which is that, let's say Facebook as one social network example. It's like the high school cafeteria. Everyone's there. All you need to do is walk in. You can just look around and wave. This group of people, this family, was like a table that invited him over. And they were a table full of cool people. They were artists, they were athletes, they were open-hearted, kind, wonderful people that wanted him to sit down with them. So it's flattering, and it feels good, and you want to believe it's true. So you make it true, and it's easy to convince yourself of almost anything online. You can find what you're looking for, you know. I mean, Google will provide the results that you want to find. Depends how you search for it.
Good thought.
Thanks. That was a new one.
We're like, yeah, that's a good thought. All right, so for all right, now your takeaway though is be more careful but still be open.
Yes.
But really, do you think that's possible after seeing this documentary?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that another thing I learned from this film is that if you really want something to be true, you are willing to overlook all of the red flags that might signal otherwise. You know, it's like you can be walking through life with blinders on, ignoring all these details that could alert you to some trouble up ahead. But if you really want something to be true, you don't see them. And I think that applies not just to the internet, but to all of life. If you know, and I think lots of people have been in relationships where you look back on it later and you think, how could I have done that? Or how could I have not seen that coming? And I think if you're aware of that, then you can head straight into things with an awareness, but also an openness.